Hey gang, and here we are with the second episode of the Fall of House of Usher, where we're finally getting into what happened to Usher's children. This episode will concern Perry, nickname for Prospero. You Poe fans know exactly where that's going, don't you? We get some flashbacks, one to Dupin, who is back in the late 70s, first started his investigation of the Ushers when bodies of people who had tested the new drug and died are stolen from the cemeteries they were buried at. And we also get a flashback before that where Usher, Roderick, is pitching the new drug they've developed to the new president or the current president of Fortunato, who prefers to stick with medical equipment. Much less headache. You don't have to mess with the Food and Drug Administration. Maybe smaller market, but it's a safer market. And we also get to see Roderick's first wife, Annabelle Lee, and the mother of his oldest two children. Now, in the modern day, this episode is drenched in sex. We learn about Tamerlan and Morella's sexual desires. One is a voyeur, the other prefers having relations with her two assistants, a male and a female, together, while Tamerlan likes to hire high-class women of the evening to come in and have a romantic dinner with her husband while she watches, and then goes on with that. Perry Usher, when he wakes up in the morning, is in a bed surrounded by about 5 undressed women. He also likes both sexes as his two business partners. One is a woman and the other is they don't quite specify whether it's a gay man who likes to dress feminine or is it someone who's trans. But that's the image you get. And they're disappointed that Roderick would not back Perry's idea for a nightclub, special memberships, and all that for the ultra elite, which he would franchise. Perry's not. Having watched his older siblings as their father would basically, in his mind, crush them before he would agree to the funding their enterprises, thereby getting them under his thumb and dependent on him for all finances. So he's going to go it alone. Let me see here. I think I've forgotten one of the Ushers. It wasn't Tamerlan that was doing the voyeurism. Tamerlan she is trying to come up with this device that can regulate heart and brain functions, and do all the things you need to do for people that have weak hearts or suffering from brain deterioration. And she tried putting it in a gorilla and it died, but she didn't tell her father that. And her father's like, you got to have this in 6 months. It's got to be workable in 6 months. And she can't get it to work, but she won't tell him that. The reason? Well, it's revealed in his discussions with Dupin. He is suffering from a biologically dementia-like brain disease. And if that thing had worked, it could forestall his inevitable dementia and demise. He's not, as he puts it, about the beta blockers and this drug and that drug, don't kid a kidder. And we get the great line about the golden rule that he took from the Wizard of Id. He who has the gold makes the rules. That's referenced a few times. Now, getting back to Perry. He goes to a meeting between the federal government on one side and Frederick and Pym on the other. Apparently there were some buildings, factories that they had that they were supposed to demolish and clean up for the toxicity of the places, but hadn't. And as Perry is going through them, he sees one that fits his purposes, and he slips that one into his pocket. No one in the family likes him, even though he is not the only illegitimate child Roderick Usher had fathered. Technically, their mothers were all married to Roderick at one point or another. His wasn't. As Frederick put it, you were just our father's dalliance with a Caribbean waitress. Be that as it may, Perry takes his business partners, aka lovers, to the factory. He's going to set up the biggest rave, most limited entrance thing, most exclusive rave. And he's going to make $10,000 for membership, $5,000 to get in the door. If he gets 100 people in, it's $1.5 million, the way he estimates it. I don't know. The way he's talking, I don't know how he's doing. Anyways, that's his reasoning. They just got to get it ready in time. Like maybe a couple of days, if that. The thing is, these buildings, they all have their own generator for electricity and their own water supply, so they don't have to hook into the city. So he just has to convert some things over. Then he goes to Frederick's house and invites Frederick's wife to the rave, being rather coarse and suggestive about it, which upsets her. She ends up going. Now, Perry plans to sleep with her at some point in that, because this is a sex-fueled orgy of a party. They're all going to do a bunch of drugs, including Viagra. Got to keep going. And go all night into the next day. Who knows? That's not the real reason for the club, though. He's got all the security cameras that were there have been turned on. He's recording everybody that's there, because basically he's going to blackmail everyone except his sister-in-law. He's going to get footage of him and her together, as well as footage of her partying. But he's going to use that against Frederick, to destroy Frederick, because he hates Frederick. Oh, and everybody else in the family thinks he's the informant. This will turn out to probably not be true. Because who else shows up at the party? Verna, wearing a red cloak and a skull mask. If you've seen the Vincent Price film Mask of the Red Death, you know what she's representing. She has a innuendo-laden conversation with Perry, and afterwards she goes and she appears next to all the staff and tells them to leave. Then she goes over to Frederick's wife, tells her to leave, and under her hypnotic spell, apparently a hypnotic spell, they do. The key moment of the party, using the water tanks on the roof, they're going to drop a rainstorm on everyone at the height of the party. It's going to be the moment that everyone will be talking about. Unfortunately, you know that toxicity that was in the ground? It was in the water too. And they basically dump gallons of acid on everyone in there. And they can't get out, the door's locked. And they are all killed, half melted. It's so gory. And then Vera shows back up, calls Perry a beautiful boy, kisses him, and then puts her skull mask on him as he lays dying. Well, quite an episode. A lot of nudity, which kind of surprised me. I'm assuming this is to demonstrate the decadence and corrupting indulgence they participate in. It's kind of degrading. There is a scene where Lenore, the granddaughter, Frederick's daughter, walks into Roderick's office to surprise him, and Juno was on his lap, and you know what was going on there. Then a little later, Roderick says, I'm going to get us all pizza. E-2 bond. And she asks Juno how she and Roderick met, and it starts out kind of friendly. I was in this horrible car accident, and he was at the hospital going, checking on his new drug, and how it was working, and he came to see me, and she had apparently lost a leg due to the injuries, and he asked her how she was enjoying the drugs, if they were helping. She says, I love them. You created them? I could give you a... And then she stops, realizing what she's saying to the granddaughter. But, yeah. Very good, very intriguing story. Verna's starting to... I'm wondering if Roderick and Madeline made a deal with the devil, and that this is the payment for their success. Could be. I didn't notice last episode, but I did this episode. Leo Usher and the young Dupin are played by actors from iZombie. Wondering if the main actress from iZombie will show up. But I doubt it. But I just found that interesting. Looking forward, as always, to the next episode. I hope you are too. Please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.